What's up, guys? Welcome to this video. This is going to be my top 10 figures of 2019.
All right, so for the honorable mentions, we have a few newer figures as well as some that have come out a little bit earlier in this year. First off, we do have the Purge Trooper that was a GameStop exclusive. I did get fortunate enough to actually get two of these. I ordered them both overseas, actually. But just overall, I love the figure. I love the video game, and having a figure that kind of encompasses that badassery is always super exciting, in my opinion, in terms of collecting for Star Wars. So definitely the first one on my runner-ups and honorable mentions is definitely the Purge Trooper. I think he's an awesome figure, great look, and I hope because of this we actually end up getting some airborne troopers for the collection line. Next up, I do have the First Order Jet Trooper that is right over there. He's actually hovering. I got some cool stands to have them hover. I just love the figure. I love new troopers, but having something new in the collection that is from the new Star Wars movie was always really exciting for me this past year. So I did put in the Jet Trooper as one of my honorable mentions because I really do like the design. I had actually the Imperial Jet Trooper initially in my top 10, but after getting this figure, I really like this one a lot more, and I think he definitely took over that spot for my Jet Trooper of choice, I guess you could say. I'll go back here. I do have Commander Pyre from a Tremor in the Force, and we had a fall there. But had not yet been to Galaxy's Edge. I will actually be heading there this May with my wife, so I might do a little vlog there while we're there. But I needed to have the Commander Pyre pack, and I'll show you why in a few minutes. But I love the figure. I love Star Wars Resistance, so having a figure from that animated show was really cool. That's the only one that we've gotten, so I'm really hoping we get some more of those different variants, as well as maybe even Kaz or Niku or someone else. Even Von Reg would be really cool, the red TIE pilot. Next up, we have Commander Obi-Wan Kenobi in the clone armor. I would have honestly given this figure a higher rating if it was within the if that face was just on the Episode 3 Obi-Wan. The figure is awesome. I love it, but the armor is just so constricting. Not even having the nice joints there where he can do a little bit more with his arms is just kind of a missed opportunity, because it's such a beautiful figure that I would have loved to have the opportunity to do a little bit more there with him. Next up, we do have Commander Fox right here. Commander Fox was one of my favorite clones that we've gotten. I love the Coruscant Guard. I actually made my own custom Commander Fox, I guess you could say. Not like exactly look by look, but more of like someone that would fall in that Coruscant Guard grouping, because I love the Shock Troopers, and that's kind of where they get their look from. So having Commander Fox was so exciting to add on, and then I know we're getting Bly soon too, so I really like getting these new clone commanders and building that collection there. And then finally, we have Mace Windu himself. I mean, the likeness of Samuel Jackson on that figure is just unreal. And I love just having more purple lightsabers in the collection. So I really like that figure. I think it's an awesome one for the line. I can't wait for these other Jedi that we're getting, and it's cool having some more figures to kind of populate the Episode 2 shelf. I do have him with Padme and the Jango Fett actually right where you can see back here. So having a Mace Windu was so exciting. I took off his robe and actually gave it to Anakin because I like showing off Mace Windu's Jedi robes. I think he just looks so much cooler, and I always think of him more from that scene in Attack of the Clones where he beheads Jango Fett. So that's why I've actually put him on that Episode 2 shelf. So those are the runner-ups. So coming in at number 10, we do have the Mountain Trooper. That is from the Galaxy's Edge 3-pack. I guess you could call it a 4-pack if you count the mouse droid, but I don't. The reason I put this figure at number 10 is I think my favorite design of any trooper from these past couple years has been the Scarif Trooper. And having something that is literally the Scarif Trooper in a First Order gear is just badass. And I think it's such an awesome figure. The aesthetic, the look, the armor itself, even the way they did the helmet and the gun that he uses, I think is just such a cool figure. And I love having it in my collection. I think when I go to Galaxy's Edge, I'm gonna buy another one of these packs just for another Mountain Trooper. But I really adore this figure. I think it's an awesome one. I'm so happy we got it in the 6-inch line, and I legitimately cannot wait to see what they come up with next. So coming in at number 9, we do have the Sith Trooper, and I did use the carbonized one to showcase this just because I love this figure. I love the carbonized look. I bought 2 of these Sith Troopers just because they were probably my favorite of them all. No offense, Mando, like, I have you, but if the Sith Trooper was more sought after than you, I would go to lengths to get 2 of these. So I'm so happy I do have 2 in my collection. The shine is just perfect for these guys. I know that they come off more matte in the normal line, and that's cool, and I have a few of those. But having some shiny ones was always just such a cool addition to the collection. And I personally just really love the way that they look. I love their weapons. I feel like they were kind of, as we expected, not that exciting in the movie, but I still think that all in all we got another awesome trooper design, and who cares if they did a lot in the movie. They look great, and I'm happy we have. So next up at number 8, we do have Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker. I love this figure. I love the look. I love the lightsaber. I'm so happy we finally got a Luke with a lightsaber that's not flimsy and jank. I've pretty much gotten rid of that lightsaber. It's in the box, and every other Luke that I have now is holding that lightsaber. I even have him actually on my top shelf with that lightsaber and that head actually on the original release of the Jedi Knight Luke. So on the run of Jedi Knights, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, Jedi Padawan. I love this figure. I grew up on Episode 1. That was the first Star Wars movie that I saw that I understood as a kid. So having this figure in my collection means a lot, really. Playing with my brother in the backyard, Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon Jinn versus Darth Maul. I was always Qui-Gon Jinn because I liked green and my brother liked blue, but still at the same time, it has that kind of, when I first got into Star Wars collecting with those Episode 1 figures, I had an Obi-Wan, I had a Qui-Gon Jinn, I had a Darth Maul. Those are some of the first figures I had. And having a figure now that looks like Ewan McGregor, has this awesome look, great articulation, is just more of a reason to have this guy in your collection. It's an awesome figure. The likeness looks great. Should have come with a robe, but I'm not going to complain about that. But it's really great to have now a Qui-Gon, an Obi-Wan, and then a Darth Maul all together in one. So coming in at number 6, we have Emperor Palpatine himself. I was so excited when I found out that they were remaking this figure with a throne, with this new face, and finally a soft goods inner cloak. I love this figure. I love him cackling up in the throne room scene that I have on my top shelf. I love that he came with those extra accessories with the lightning hands, the extra heads, and the throne itself. But overall, this figure is just one of my personal favorites. I know it's a remake, but I think it does so much more as a remake than some of the archives do. Rather than just doing a new face app, they really went all in on this figure to make it different and to make it really scream as a new role, or a new figure, excuse me. So I love this one. I think it's an awesome figure. I'm really happy they redid it, and it does come into my number 6 spot. Coming in at number 5 is essentially Mud Trooper. I know this is a Han Solo figure, but the fact that it can be done as a Mud Trooper, that's the way I have both of mine. I love this trooper. I wish it had a soft goods cape. That cape is just awful in all ways possible. Like, it looks great if it's just standing there, but posing it is really hard, and doing all the extra fun stuff is just a pain in the butt. But I absolutely adore this trooper. I like the fact that the mask kind of comes off a little bit there. And you can pull up the goggles. You can make him Han Solo if you want. You could do whatever you really want with this figure. And it's such a versatile figure that I think that's what makes it even cooler. So I really love this figure. I totally forgot about it, that it came out this past year. And I remember saying, like, at the beginning of the year, maybe March when it came out, that this is my figure of the year. Obviously, it's in my top 5, and I'm happy that I remembered that it was. But, you know, it's just such a cool figure. The look of it, the way that it is just like another cool trooper. Even though that screen time of Mimban was really short and more of it was focused on the Stormtroopers in the Mimban gear, I still love the Mud Troopers, and I think that they're just an awesome creation in the Star Wars universe and just scream Star Wars. So, great addition. Really happy to have this one. In at number 4, we have Luke Skywalker from the Yavin Ceremony. The reason I think I have more of a connection to this figure is more because of the comic. I do have the comic one as well, and that's where his medal is and why he has a lightsaber. But personally, I just love this look of this Luke. I think this is the best likeness of Mark Hamill that we have in the Black Series line. And personally, I just love this figure. I love adding it to the New Hope shelf. I think it brings like a more badass Luke than the Farm Boy one does. So having something that just makes him start looking like he's kind of like halfway scoundrel, halfway, you know, a Jedi is just really cool. And I loved him in that comic. I loved his arc. I loved everything that they did with him, and that's why I definitely think this is one of my favorite Luke Skywalker figures that I have in my collection. I think the likeness on this one is actually better than the likeness on the Jedi Knight one, but at the same time, it does kind of have its own aesthetic. It has a different hairdo. I love how he has that look of Han Solo, really, like the Bespin Han, essentially in this figure, but he's just a really cool figure, and I'm so happy that we have coming in at number 3. We have the Mando. I love this figure. I was so happy when I got him, and just having him on the shelf and having him posed. He was by himself for the longest time, and now that you have Cara Dune and IG-11, and I'm sure we're gonna get more figures. It's just such a badass, and like watching the show and alongside and learning more about this figure just made me more excited about the show. So I love the Mandalorian. I'm super hooked on it, and I just love this figure. I think the articulation is great. I did buy him a soft goods cape that's coming, so I'm really excited to see how he looks with that. But he just looks like a badass. Like, it doesn't have like an aesthetic. I mean, yes, I want the full Beskar armor version, but I love this one because it's just so like it shows his build up, and knowing that was all we saw of him in was the first episode. It's really cool to have something that kind of shows how he built himself up and became this feared bounty hunter in the Parsec. I just love this figure. I think it's great. I think it's so well done, and I really can't wait until we get more Mando. So I'm gonna hold on to General since he doesn't want to stand, obviously, but General Grievous is my number 2 figure of this past year. I've been wanting a General Grievous probably since the day I saw him on screen. He's one of the few figures that I do have in pretty much everything. The Elite series, I have him in Vintage Card. I have him in the original Episode 3 figure. I love General Grievous, and having this figure in the collection was so exciting when they announced him, when I saw those promo photos. I'm just so happy we have a General Grievous in the Black Series line. I do wish that his joints weren't so weak and that he always falls. I always have to lean him up against something, or just have him sitting down or something, just because he's always falling. These tiny joints that they do have on the legs are just not good for him and don't hold him up well. But I have 2. I have one where he is, arms folded with his cloak on, and then I have this one where he is. And coming in at number 1 is the Heavy Infantry Mandalorian. Like I said, I love the show, but this figure is just too good. It looks awesome. It feels awesome. It's heavy. It's badass. He has this giant Gatling gun, and I love it. And I just could not wait to have him in the collection when I saw the promo photos. Even when I heard about the things, we have another Mandalorian coming out in the deluxe line. Like, what could it be? Like, what could he look like? And I was not disappointed when this thing came in the mail. Everything about this figure is awesome. I love the rusted, kind of dirty look to him. I love the colors. It does remind me of San Jose State, so that's always cool too. That blue and the gold. But I mean, just look at this figure. Just look at everything in terms of the jetpack, the skirt, the armor, how it just looks like he's been like underground, like in the show for so long. And I just love everything about this figure. I think it's just a really cool one, and it is definitely my number 1 figure in the Black Series line this year.